Hello students, welcome to digital classes of Mallareddy Memorial School. Today we are going to learn the topic from metals and non-metals. We know that metals and non-metals are very important for us. So let's look at some of the important physical properties of metals and non-metals. We can generally associate the physical properties, that is the most common metal we use gold, right. So we can generally associate the physical properties that the most common metal we have seen that is the gold, and this coal or carbon. Actually coal or carbon is the metalloid, but it can shows the properties similar to the non-metal. So generally we can regard the coal as a non-metal. So we can associate the properties, that is the physical properties of the non-metals with coal, right. Physical state. What is the physical state we have seen in metals? So we have seen gold, silver, metals. So generally these are in solid state, right. So we can say that the metals are solid at room temperature. Okay. So the metals are solids at room temperature. But only one exceptional case for the metals, that is mercury. Mercury generally present in thermometers. So this is in the liquid state. Only the one of the metal it is in the liquid state, that is the mercury. It is in the room temperature in liquid state. It is present in the thermometers. Remaining all the metals are solids at room temperature. Right? Only the mercury is in liquid state at room temperature. Then what about the non-metals? So non-metals like sulfur, phosphorus, these are solids, right. Non-metals like sulfur and phosphorus, these are the solids at room temperature, and like oxygen gas, nitrogen gas, chlorine gas, all these are the non-metals. These are present in the gaseous form. So non-metals exist as the solids and gases. But only one exceptional case for this non-metals which is present in liquid form, that is a bromine. You can observe this bromine, only it is a liquid state in the room temperature. So remaining all non-metals in room temperature solids or gases. The only exceptional case for bromine which is present in liquid state. Now, what is meant by lustrous? So lustrous is a shining property for the substances, right. So you can see here the metals, gold, silver and these copper utensils, all are made up of shining properties, right. So the gold and silver and these copper utensils all are shining properties. So the metals which we are having the shining property on them, then we can say that those substances are the lustrous. Okay, the substances have the shining property on them. The looking appearance is very shine, right. So that's why the ornaments are coated with the gold or silver or this copper, right, because the metals are having shining property on them. So, we can say that the symbol for gold is AU. Okay. So, the symbol for gold is AU, nothing but aurum. In Latin word, we can call it as the aurum, meaning shining dawn. So, aurum meaning is the shining dawn. So, that is why we have to use the metals are the lustrous properties. That means gold, silver, the copper, we will use as the shining properties. So, see, this is the non-metal. Does the non-metals have the lustrous? No, because the non-metals have the dull appearance. The looking appearance is very dull for the non-metals. So, you can observe this sulfur, phosphorus, all these non-metals are the dull appearance. Okay, there is no lustrous property for the sulfur and phosphorus like all non-metals. Hardness. What is meant by hardness? See here. So, the metals are generally hard and strong. So, we must have seen gold, silver, platinum. So, all these metals are hard and strong, right? We can say that the metals are hard and strong. So, we can say that the metals have hardness. Then what about the non-metals? See here, one of the exceptional case for the metals, the only metals, the sodium and potassium can break with a knife. We can cut them with the help of knife. They have soft nature. Only the sodium and potassium have soft nature. We can cut them with the help of knife. Only these two are soft. Remaining all metals are hard and strong. And non-metals. This is the hardest substance known, right? So, when we are taken non-metals, sulfur, phosphorus, these can be hard or soft, right? You can say that the non-metals can be hard or soft. Just we have seen the diamond. Diamond is the hardest substance and the sulfur, phosphorus are the soft substances. So, we can say that non-metals can be hard or soft, but the metals are strong and hard except sodium and potassium. And see the aluminium block. So, this aluminium block, when it is drawn into thin sheets, that means here you can observe these aluminium foils, aluminium sheets and tin sheets which we are using in household articles. Yes, this will use in houses. So, this very aluminium big block is beaten into very thin sheets, right? So, when we are beating this aluminium block, it is formed into very thin sheets. That property is known as the malleability, right? So, these metals have malleability in nature. So, we can say that the metals, the property due to which a substance can be beaten into thin sheets without cracking, known as malleability, except zinc and mercury. We know mercury, it is in the liquid form, right? It is in the liquid state, we cannot beat that mercury. So similarly, zinc also we cannot beat that into sheets. So remaining all metals can be beaten into thin sheets. They have malleability in nature. Okay, the property due to which a substance can be beaten into thin sheets without cracking is known as the malleability. Then what about the non-metals? We know non-metals, the physical properties are taken with coal. So when we are trying to shape or when we have to try to turn this coal into different shapes, can we break it? Means can we shape into different manner? No, because this coal is breaks when we want to make them into shape. So we can say that non-metals are non-malleable. Means they breaks into pieces. Yes. So non-metals have brittle in nature. Right? Non-metals are brittle in nature because they are non-malleable, means breaks into pieces. So see here, you can observe in this picture copper block and gold block, right? We know we can break this gold block and copper block into very, very thin pieces, right? So from this copper block we can make very thin wires. We can get very, very thin wires from the big copper block. So that property is known as ductile. Okay. So the very big copper block is made into very thin wires. You can observe in this picture. So that property is known as ductile. So from the gold, we can see that gold is the most ductile metal. So a wire of about 2 kilometer length can be drawn from 1 gram gold. So from 1 gram gold we can make 2 meter long wire. So that much of ductile nature is there for gold. So we can say that metals have ductile nature. Right? So that's why from the big copper block we can get very small thin wires, right? So then what about the non-metals? So first of all, see here, the property due to which a substance can be drawn into thin wires without breaking is known as ductility. So when we want to break the gold or copper wires, there we will not observe any breaking. Okay, we can make very thin wires, very long thin wires. So that's why we can say that the metals have ductility in nature. So the property due to which the substance can be drawn into thin wires without breaking is known as ductility. So here also exceptional case is there, like malleability for zinc and mercury. Okay, for this there is no ductility. So have you ever seen a coal wire? No, you haven't. Why it is happening? So non-metals are non-ductile. We know coal is the non-metal. It shows the property similar to the non-metals. So non-metals are not ductile. So that's why we haven't seen the coal wires. So we must have seen steel utensils and iron utensils for cooking. Why we are using only steel and iron utensils for cooking? So these are comes under the metals. So these metals are used for cooking. That means they absorb the heat very easily. So the raw vegetables which we are keep inside of these metals, they can easily absorb the heat. So they can easily cook the raw vegetables. That's why we can use steel or iron utensils. Even in this press also. So here the metal is used for press, right? So here the heat is easily absorbed by these metals. So we can easily press the clothes. Okay? So that's why we can use the metals only. And we can also observe the aluminium and copper wires for conduction of electricity. We know metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. So that's why we'll use the copper and aluminium wires, because the conduction of heat and electricity is very good for metals. Right? And we ever heard of carbon or coal electric cables? Because this carbon or coal is a non-metal. Yes, we know it will show the similar properties to the non-metals. And we know non-metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity. That means they are poor conductors of heat and electricity. So we can say that non-metals are non-conductors of heat and electricity. So that's why we will use only metal wires for heat and electricity. So now, do you ever observe that when we are dropped a metal coin on the floor, and when we drop a piece of coal piece on the floor, the sound when we observed, what is the sound of the metal coin and what is the sound of the coal piece? Is there any difference between these two sounds? Yes. When we drop a metal coin on the floor, there we observe a peculiar and prominent sound. But when we drop a coal piece, we will not observe that type of sound. So why it is happen like this? So metal coin is having peculiar and prominent sound. So here the coal piece is the non-metal, right? And the coin is the metal. So we can see that the metals are sonorous and non-metals are non-sonorous. So metals are sonorous, that's why they will give a peculiar and prominent sound. But when we drop a coal piece on the floor, that means a non-metal, there we will not observe a peculiar and prominent sound. That's why they are non-sonorous. Metals are sonorous. That's why we can use, that means we will use always in schools and in temples the bells which made up of metals, right? So the bell, it is made up of metal only, because the sound is peculiar and prominent. That's why we will use the metal bells in the schools and temples. So see some of the differences of these metals and non-metals up to now what we are discussing. See here the metals, the physical properties of the metals. The physical state is solids. Metals are solids at room temperature. And non-metals. The physical state of these non-metals, they are solids like coal and gases like oxygen gas, nitrogen gas and chlorine gas. Yes, and one of the exceptional case is there for these non-metals, that is bromine, which is liquid state at room temperature. And for the metals, mercury, which is liquid state at room temperature. And metals are hard and soft. Okay, and non-metals are hard or soft. Sorry, here the metals are hard and strong. They are not soft. But non-metals are hard or soft. There we observe diamond is the hardest substance, which is non-metal, and phosphorus, sulfur or the non-metals, they are soft in nature, right? And metals are malleable in nature, right? And non-metals are non-malleable. And malleable means we can draw that into very thin sheets. But non-metals cannot be drawn into thin sheets. Ductile. Metals have ductility and non-metals have non-ductility. Means we can drawn into thin wires. Metals are drawn into thin wires, but non-metals cannot be drawn into thin wires. And metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Non-metals are poor conductors of heat and electricity. Finally, the metals are sonorous. That means they produce a peculiar and prominent sound. And non-metals are non-sonorous. They will not produce a peculiar and prominent sound. So, these are some of the important physical properties of metals and non-metals, which are important for us. Okay, thank you.